Hi guys, how are you doing? Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Therapy with Wanjiru, a channel that I created for mental health awareness, anything to do with mental health, anything to do with mental disorders. I created this channel purposely to spread awareness. Okay, so today I'm gonna be talking about a mental disorder that is commonly known, and many people tend to diagnose themselves with this particular mental disorder. And today we are gonna talk about ADHD. Okay, so ADHD in full stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. Yes, you had that right. So this is a very common disorder amongst people. Yeah, so let's dive straight into it. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder. Okay, it affects how the brain regulates attention and impulse. Basically, ADHD is self-explanatory because right from the words attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, it mainly deals with how the brain regulates how you are attentive, or rather how you tend to concentrate. And also the hyperactivity part, it tends to regulate how your brain reacts to different things, or rather how your impulse levels are. Okay, so that is basically ADHD. Okay, hapo mbeleni nimesema it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. So what do I mean by neurodevelopmental disorder? It's basically a condition that begins during the development of the brain. Okay, so that's what neurodevelopmental disorder means. It begins when the brain is developing, basically. So it begins during childhood. Okay, so because now during childhood unapata ndio mtoto ana grow, mtoto ana grow sasa, like pia the brain grows as well. I'll be mentioning to you some of the symptoms of ADHD, how to manage, or rather, yeah, how to manage ADHD, and some of the treatment options available, and how to support people with ADHD. So basically, ADHD is just about how the brain is wired. So, for people with ADHD, they basically struggle with attention. Yes, they struggle with attention, and through that, you find that they portray the following symptoms. Number one, unapata that akona difficulty in concentrating. This particular person cannot sit at one point and concentrate, maybe during a lecture or a meeting, or yeah, just, or those events. Unapata like akona difficulty concentrating. Number two, you find that these people get easily distracted. Yes, you find that wanakuwa distracted for like easily, wanakuwa distracted easily. And by distraction easily, hawa ni watu wenye hata kitu ikiweza pita tu hivi, like it will distract them. I don't know if you've come across people who are in class, or people who are in a meeting, and then like just something random happens, or rather mtu anapita, mtu anafungua mlango, mtu anatoka nje, like they get distracted so easily. Even something slight or something small such as a fly passing. Yes, kitu kidogo kama nzi ikipita ama butterfly, waone tu kitu tu, they get easily distracted. So these are, I'm describing people with ADHD and how they react, or rather how it affects them, or how the symptoms manifest. Okay, so number one tumesema difficulty concentrating. Number two pia tukasema they have a problem with getting easily distracted. Number three, unapata these people forget tasks easily. Like for instance, unaweza pata umeachiwa kitu ufanye, and then like you forget to do it totally. So you find that people with ADHD often forget like tasks that they are meant to do, or rather to perform that particular day or within a given deadline, but unapata wanasahau. So forgetting tasks is also a symptom of ADHD, especially for that part ya inattention. Another one is losing items. Okay, so you find that people with ADHD like lose items. It could be anything. It could be a phone. It could be an item that you value the most. So unapata these people with ADHD, they lose things so quick. Also, another symptom ya ADHD, hiyo part ya inattention, ni or they struggle with finishing tasks, like wana struggle na kumaliza tasks zenye wameanza. You find that this particular person with ADHD has so many projects to do. Like this particular person akona projects mingi, anafaa kufanya hii, anafaa kufanya hii. Maybe they're giving themselves deadline, or rather they have like many ideas, and then like they start one thing, they don't finish it, they start another. So like they have that problem, there's that particular pattern. Yeah, you start up something and you're not able to finish it. Okay, also other people may experience as a hyperactivity. So to share outline the inattention part, so let's look at hyperactivity. So for hyperactivity, unapata that these particular people, they are very hyper, they talk too much, they may portray restlessness. Like unapata huyu mtu ako restless, haizi tulia mahali pamoja, like ako so restless. Another thing is talking excessively. Like you find that people with ADHD, they talk excessively. Also, another symptom ya hyperactivity ni constant movement. Huyu mtu haizi like tulia place moja. Yeah, I don't know if you know people like those, they cannot tulia place moja, yani they must move, lazima tu waende. Maybe kama ni class ama maybe ni meeting, haizi tulia mahali pamoja, lazima akae akitoka toka nje, lazima akae akitoka toka nje. So that's another symptom of ADHD. Now let's look at the impulsivity. So for impulsivity is basically when a person acts without thinking and talks without thinking. So these people interrupt others, like unapata they interrupt people, unapata mtoto anafanya kazi zake hapo, and then these people, they will come and disturb you or interrupt you, whether it's talking, whether it's doing an activity, watafanya kitu, and then like later on they'll come to regret it. So that is basically impulsivity. So we've talked about inattention, hyperactivity na impulse. That is what basically forms ADHD. So for ADHD affects so many aspects of life. It affects relationships, it affects school, it affects work. So ADHD is mistaken to be a personality, but I wouldn't really say it's a personality, but I would say ADHD is just a neurodevelopmental disorder. So I would say that ADHD is more of how the brain is wired to function. Okay, so that is basically how I would define it. Apart from all those symptoms that I've mentioned, people with ADHD tend to have strengths as well. So like people with ADHD tend to have strengths. Yeah, you find that people with ADHD, they're very creative. Huyu mtu 1 minute you're talking, and then the other minute he or she has already come up with an idea, a very very brilliant idea. Yeah, and these people, you find them in workplaces, these people you find them in classes, these people you find them in the midst of maybe your friends. Yeah, like these people are so smart, they come up with ideas, very brilliant ideas actually. Like they have empathy and also like high problem solving skills. These people come up with solutions real quick. So the exact cause of ADHD is linked to brain chemistry. Yes, it's linked to brain chemistry, and also genetics. So you find that maybe kama ni mzazi alikuwa na ADHD ama baba mama alikuwa na ADHD, the child will end up having ADHD. There are those who ask, like, is ADHD noticeable, or can it be diagnosed during birth? No, it cannot be diagnosed during birth. Why? This is because it's a neurodevelopmental disorder. It basically occurs when the brain starts developing, and you find that during this period ni saa zenye mtoto sasa like ashakuwa mkubwa, ako maybe 2 to 4 years, and ameanza kwenda shule polepole. So like you start noticing these signs, especially maybe ashaanza kuongea, ashaanza kwenda shule, hiyo span ya those 2 to 4 years. But during birth, no, you cannot identify like this particular child has ADHD. So ADHD is highly manageable, and people living with ADHD, they survive, and it's not like a contagious illness. These are people who are living amongst us. It's just that they have these particular symptoms. Okay, so for ADHD, it's highly manageable, and it can be treated through the following ways. Okay, number one, psychotherapy. And when I talk about psychotherapy, I mean making this particular person who is affected by ADHD to attend the counseling sessions. Huyu mtu anafaa kuattend counseling sessions, huyu mtu anafaa kwenda at least akuwe na sessions za psycho education, at least so that you can be aware. Okay, so this is very important: psychotherapy, psychoeducation. Okay, number two, we have medications. If at all it's a high functioning ADHD, it's high functioning ADHD, especially when developed during the adulthood stage, you find that some people may tend to take medications. Okay, because there are medications for ADHD. Number three, and which is very important, supportive environments. If at all you have a child who has ADHD, or rather you have a close sibling, it could be a friend, it could be a colleague at work who has ADHD, a supportive environment is very, very vital to them, because now if you stigmatize them or if you judge them, they might tend to shy away from the public eye, and it might affect them. It might affect their self esteem. It might affect how they relate with people. So it's very important that you create a supportive environment for them. Another one is behavioral strategy. So for behavioral strategies, basically like going through the cognitive behavioral therapy, na hapa sasa ndio therapy inaingilia this particular person who is affected by ADHD and it's high functioning. Unafaa ku like see a therapist, and that is why we are here. We as psychologists and counseling psychologists, yeah, you can book a session. So with the right support, ADHD is manageable. ADHD, people living with ADHD require environments that are very, very supportive. Okay, so having ADHD doesn't define your worth. Okay, it doesn't define your worth. It doesn't define you as a person. You can still live a successful and fulfilling life. So that was it for today. Thank you so much for being a loyal viewer. Thank you so much for the support. This has been a good session, and I hope you've learned something about the mental disorder that we were discussing today. That is ADHD. Okay, I have been your psychologist, Becky. Until next time, see you in the next video.